All right, this is a 2001 Eclipse GT with a Diamante intake swap. We powder coated it blue just to give it a little bit of a different look. This is not a straightforward swap if you want to try this. Just for example, I'm going to start here. I'm going to work my way counterclockwise. This bracket has to be completely moved because there's no the mounting bosses are not the same from the original intake. All of these lines had to be extended because this intake is longer this way, so it pushes the throttle body more toward the driver's side. So all of these lines, cruise control, EGR, which is back there, map, or not map sensor, but the throttle body, vacuum lines, everything had to be extended to match this intake. Another thing is the EGR does not match up, and it's flipped 90 degrees. So there's your tube from where the exhaust used to be. The EGR valve itself, you can't even see it in there, is also flipped 90 degrees. The other problem we ran into, and I don't even know if we can see it, is that there is a bracket under there, and the EGR valve hits that bracket. We could not get this to start and run for anything. I saw that the EGR valve was sitting on the bracket. I cut that bracket out of the way. It has to stay there because there's heater hose lines that are connected to it, and they use those for support. I cut that bracket away, and as soon as I did, every one of these intake bolts was finger tight. Cranked it down, it fired right up. So that's just a little mistake we made. We didn't see it when we were putting it on. The intake looked like it sat fine, and we cranked it down and thought it was tight, but you couldn't see it back here. It was not made it up to the lower intake plenum. So keep that in mind if you decide to do this swap. The other thing is the fuel pressure regulator line. It had a hard line, intermediate line right here. I took that out and just ran an all new line straight from there, from the fuel pressure regulator to the intake. The other thing is, this is going to be hard to see too. Where is it at? This little curved, can't get in there. You can see that curved hose right there goes to the throttle body. The way that the connections are, if you use the factory hose, it's too short and it kinks. So what I did is I ran a longer hose, and it came off the car, and I looped it around into the intake or the throttle body so that it wouldn't be kinked, and you still had that throttle body coolant hose on there. Outside of extending the lines, this is an AEM intake tube. You can actually see it's rubbing right on the battery bracket. It does get tighter here. We've got the battery pushed over, and it does get tighter here. Other than that, it wasn't bad. It's not a straightforward swap. And just like anything else in the car world, you know, when you're doing something that's not factory, there's going to be hiccups and things like that you're going to run into. Throttle body bracket, that is not fun to adjust back there. I have bigger hands, and there's no room with this new intake to get back there and adjust that. But I was able to wrestle my arm in there and get it loosened and tightened to get the throttle body cable adjusted to where it needs to be.